Hello and welcome to this, another episode of Tours and Tactics. Today we're going to be exploring the little tower known as Wildcreek Run, with a bit of a divergence into the Molevek works. Wildcreek Run is a tower just to the west of Stone Mist Keep, which is the massive building you see to the side. Now as we take a walk this way, this is another wall that I'm not entirely sure is destructible. It wasn't highlighted when I went over it. I'm still of the belief that this might be a beta issue, since I can't really see what the sense would be in having one wall destructible and one wall not. But as you can see, we go around here with this bit of a bulge outwards. This one is a little shaky when it comes to the defensive setup. We're going to head around this way. And as you can see, the defenders are kind of sheltered by the bridge. And as this destructible wall here, which currently seems to be the main weakness for the keep, and that tunnel you just saw leads into the Molevek works, which we'll get to in a bit. I don't know if I've gone over this, but the people on the opposing teams, aside from their ability to disappear, you don't see their names. You just see their guild tags and their color and their invader. Unless you're in their homeland, in which case it's Defender. Now as we head inside the keep here, we're going to do a couple of laps around the walls. And you've got the vendor with the supply depot right here by the wall. And along the wall you can see the different outcroppings where the defenses would go. The destructible wall right there. And this other wall that doesn't seem to be destructible, which is really odd. I'm still chalking it up with beta is beta. Here's the odd little corners here, and I'm just going to pause it right. This is really odd, because these outcroppings here where you see the cannon, they're slightly angled towards the gate, but I'm not entirely sure how well they'd be able to fire. So far, this seems like one of the first keeps that doesn't seem to be as brilliantly designed either for attack or defense. It leaves the gate pretty covered. As far as I can tell, we're going to resume. And you got this walk around area here. You can look down. And we're going to pause it again. This bridge right here is almost directly overhead of the gate. If you look to the right a little bit, you can see the stone where the gate area actually is. So you could theoretically fire down on it. But this seems very favorable towards the attackers. I'm not sure. Especially if it turns out that other wall is glitched and you can attack it from both sides here. You've still got the openness of the walls for the defenders, especially if they're bringing rams and such against the walls. But so far this is not really one of the better laid out keeps that we've seen. Up here we've got the Tower Lord. And an even higher, pausing, kind of useless area to shoot down from. It doesn't really open up to any large movements. The bridge is too far out of the way, and it's on the complete opposite side of the gate. I guess maybe you might be able to put a ballista up there to hit any siege weapons that are attacking, but I currently cannot see any sort of strategic advantage to this area. It's one of those really weird keeps I can't quite put my finger on. So as you can see on the map here, we've got the one destructible wall directly near the entrance to the Molevek works. And if you were to look up, you would see the keep on the other side of the Molevek works, which means you could use the Molevek, I've been pronouncing it wrong, Molevek works, to move from the upper areas down to Wildcreek Run, which means Wildcreek Run would be the main bastion for defending against any encroachment from that direction. but it's not really designed very well to do so. I guess you could argue that people would have to walk past the bridge in order to attack the gate, and maybe you could fire down on either side, but I'm not entirely sure how wide of an attack angle you have when you're firing ranged weapons on the walls. Keep in mind, with all these strategies, this is partially from memory, partially from what I've read, and just analyzing the various keep structures. Whenever the game gets closer to launch and we have more time to play around, then the strategies will be cemented a little bit better, because I'll actually be able to try stuff out. Right now it's mostly just theory crafting. But if you've seen any of the maps, and we're going to zoom out to the larger map of the Eternal Battlegrounds here, that seems like the way that it's going to start. You're going to have red starting with the northern territories in the Eternal Battlegrounds, green starting in the lower left, and the blue starting in the lower right. Now, I've been reading things. Now, I have yet to be in a World vs. World immediately when it started, so I can't vouch for this, but some of the things I've been reading lately says that everything starts neutral, which strikes me as kind of odd. You have to reconquer all the stuff in the Green World borderlands? I'm not sure. That's something we'll have to find out whenever we go live in the next beta. But if you look at the position of Stone Mist Keep in the exact center of the Eternal Battlegrounds, it kind of covers the approach that divides the Molevek works with Stone Mist Castle. So the best way to head through it would be through the Molevek works to Wildcreek Run. Again, that's kind of guesswork on my part, and you'll see how the Molevek Run looks in a little bit. Now, Wildcreek Run itself, as we pointed out, has the one destructible wall on that angle. The other destructible wall, I'm hoping it's a destructible wall, because if it's not, this is going to be one of the odder of the keeps that we've looked at so far. Because if someone's possessing it who owns also Molevek works, then you don't really have a good angle of attack on it. It kind of needs the destructible walls on both sides so that attackers have a decent opportunity depending on what's owned on the other side. If someone else owns the keep on the other side of the Molevek works, then they've kind of got that angle covered. Otherwise, let's say that one wall we've pointed out is destructible, then you could easily set up siege engines along the bank of the other side of the river and firing from there. This is, of course, with the idea that you own Stone Mist Castle. If you don't own Stone Mist Castle, then it might be a bit of a hassle to defend that position while you're firing down on the wall, which, I reiterate, I really hope is destructible. So as we resume the little scanning of the map here,
I feel so vulnerable.
That's good to know, buddy. We are going to head towards the Molevek works now. Or not, because there are some bad red invaders there. And one of the things I've pointed out so far is how bad at combat you are whenever you've had your level artificially bumped. I'm just going to kind of chill in here for a second, hope they go away. Yeah, looking down from here, it really kind of a small area to maneuver to destroy the wall. Especially since you'd have to get the catapult around to in between the bridges. This is not one of my favorite keeps, people. It's kind of bland and vanilla. Not a huge fan of it. Which the red invaders dance around for a little bit. And one of them heading into the Molevek works, and I take off in hot pursuit. Now we're going to head into here, and my research on the Molevek works, primarily that of the Guild Wars 2 wiki, says only that the Molevek works is a neutral dredge village in the Eternal Battlegrounds. This area includes a dynamic event that allies the dredge with whichever team helps defend their village the most. And it says the dredge put up turrets around their area to give defense assistance. I saw an example of this once, I think, where I saw a couple of vendors, but it's not entirely clear what you have to do. I did not encounter in my travels any sort of dynamic events or anything resulting in this area. As you can see coming up, I get a prompt to repair their drills, but I'm not sure where the drill parts are or how they're used. I like the idea of getting neutral party assistance to defend this area, especially if they put up turrets, because you'll be able to easily defend this passage between the keeps on either side of this rocky outcropping here. Especially if you own Stone Mist Castle.
Comrade.
Yeah, same to you, buddy. This whole area is very weird. It's one of those I'll have to just kind of... I'd really have to explore it more.
Hello, comrade.
Thanks, buddy. In the live game. Because there's only so much I can theorycraft without knowing more about what this area does, or the dynamic events required, or the amount of help required. Right now, a lot of what we're doing here is looking at keep designs and just applying standard strategies with how to attack them based on what we know with the game. And with this area, the Molevek works, we're not entirely sure how any of this applies to anything, which kind of curtails a bit of theory crafting. So we got some of our buddies heading towards Stone Mist Castle there. And as we head towards the exit I've been talking about that leads into the other nearby keep, which we will be exploring at a much later time. I'll explain in the video after next, which is Anzelia's Pass, which looks like a much better designed keep than Wildcreek Run. I can't talk. All the very big keeps. Red Shard Overlook, looking at that right there. I will head down the final passage in the Molevek works and we'll say goodbye to this area and that really disheartening kind of oddly shaped keep that's called Wildcreek Run.
Time to do some real damage.
Thanks, someone. I don't know who that was. Again, just kind of exploring, not entirely sure what any of this does. I wish I had more for you, I really do. But there's only so much you can do when you've got less than 3 days to play around in something. Especially when you got all kinds of ideas, but you don't have the numbers to really play with it. Now, as we exit here, we look at our next destination for the next video. The glorious, glorious Stone Mist Castle. So until next time, game on and take care.